All right, so a lot of you have been asking for Samsung Q8FN and this new HDR update that Rockstar Games has implemented this week. I have tested on the OLED, and obviously it looks good on OLED. Anything will look good on OLED, but this is, I think, where we truly will appreciate this HDR because one of the most important thing in the HDR, it's always peak brightness. The higher the peak brightness, well, the better the HDR is going to look. Well, Samsung Q8FN just happens to have also a really good color gamut. It's a quantum dot television with a really high DCI-P3 color measurement, meaning has an outstanding spectrum of colors. For those of you who don't understand what the full wider color gamut means, okay, it's a 10-bit, but it has a wider color gamut. And when you have a full white color gamut implemented with a 1500 nits peak of brightness, of course the HDR will look just simply phenomenal. However, you have to remember something else too. You know, this is a LCD panel, and what the OLED can achieve, it's something that the LCD will never be able to achieve. I don't care how many local dimming zones you put on there. You're never going to have those perfect digital black levels. All right. But let's get into my settings here and what I recommend. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do a little test. I'm going to show you a little test like these clouds. Right now I have my peak brightness at 2000 right here for this game. I'm going to move my peak brightness to 1500. And of course, when you move peak brightness to 1500, now you are getting truly the correct peak brightness that this TV can achieve. And this TV can achieve easily 1500 nits, no problem. People talk to me about Paperwhite. Like, what about the Paperwhite? How much of Paperwhite should you use? On the OLED, I had to move that Paperwhite a little bit higher because it's OLED. All right. But on this one, I moved my Paperwhite to 220, and that's what I recommended. I said leave the Paperwhite at 220 for the OLED. And then here, I think we can move Paperwhite to 200, as a matter of fact. So this is where I'm at currently right here. Paperwhite 200 and peak brightness 1500. Now, some people are going to say, well, I don't think this is correct and I don't think this is correct. Peak brightness should be 1500 and Paperwhite shouldn't be 200. Listen, man, I'm not using any calibrating equipment or software to tell me where it should be. I'm using my own two eyes, okay? And what I try to do here, I try to give you my suggestions. You don't have to do this. You don't have to leave it like this. You can crank it up to 2000 if you want, but then you're going to be overblowing your white digital levels. The best thing to do is leave it at 200. 1500, I'm sorry. When you go all the way up to 2000, you see your TV cannot handle it. So there's no point of you going all the way to 2000. You want to go to 1500. And at 1500, you can still see the clouds and everything here. If I go up to 2000, then you don't see it as much. Now, Paperwhite. How much of Paperwhite do you want to move? Some people tell me I should move the Paperwhite to like 90 and 100. I was like, dude, are you crazy? It looks dimmed if I move my Paperwhite all the way to 100. 200 and 1500 here, it's ideal. The only reason I suggested 220 for the OLED because the OLED, obviously, it's not the brightest TV. So I want to, enhance my contrast a little bit. But for here, 200, 1500, I think this is ideal. Moving it to 1300, you see what's going on? We're losing the detail on the clouds here. Moving it to 1500, we got much better detail. Because remember, the more peak brightness you put, the better it is. But it just so happens that this television has 1500. So I'm feeding this television 1500 peaks of nits for the brightness, which is the exact peak brightness of nits that this TV can achieve. I think this is, in my opinion, the ideal. Paperwhite 200 and 1500. I think it's great. Now, just because I say it's great doesn't mean it's going to be great for you. Remember, I'm only doing this for this television. This is Samsung Q8FN. If you got some other television, then this is not going to work. I'm doing it for this television. And so far, I like what I'm seeing here. The HDR, believe me, guys, I have seen HDR. I have experienced a bunch of different HDR games. I have Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I played all of the Ubisoft HDR games, Far Cry games. This is as close to Far Cry 5 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey as you're going to get. People say it doesn't have a good tone mapping. I think they just increased the peak brightness and the Paperwhite. So what? That will help. That will help. That will help enhance the tone mapping that they already put into this game. I mean, how does it look on Samsung Q8FN? I mean, it looks great. Look, this is a great HDR television. Okay, should you purchase this TV for HDR? Absolutely. Samsung. If Samsung Q8FN was a bad TV, do you really think I would have it? Of course, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have it. Samsung Q8FN, it's a great HDR TV. And it's a great gaming TV. You're gonna enjoy both video games and the movies in HDR and sports as well. Not to mention that this television has 120 hertz variable refresh rate, especially with the Xbox One X. You can use 1440p, 120 hertz variable refresh rate. That's pretty cool. Uh, and you can also use a FreeSync 2, and you have a game mode built into it. So this is a perfect TV for gaming, first and foremost, but it's also a great TV for HDR as well. Again, people ask me, why don't you recommend? Dude, I cannot recommend because I don't know what you're looking for. I don't know what your preference is. So I'm sick and tired of people asking, so what TV do you recommend? Dude, it's not about me recommending it to you. It's about you watching this video and then comparing it to the OLED, looking at my OLED videos, and then you decide. You make that choice. I'm not here to make a choice for you, guys. I'm just here to tell you my unbiased consumer point of view experience. Why do you need my seal of approval? I don't understand that. Like, I'm not some TV god guru guy. Like, if I tell you go buy this TV, like you have to buy it. No, I'm just simply saying, uh, if you love HDR, I mean, listen, Q8FN, Q9FN, especially Q9FN, you're in heaven. You're in HDR heaven. You got all the necessary components to enjoy HDR. Okay. However, there's a trade-off. You don't have the best viewing angles. So if you put that TV on the wall and you got a bunch of people coming in to watch a movie or a video or a sports event, guess what? They're gonna see a little bit of that bleeding light. Why? Because it's LCD panel. With the OLED, you're not gonna have that problem. But the trade-off is the OLED's not the brightest TV, so it's gonna be a bit dimmed down. Okay, it's not gonna look great when all the lights are lit up. Okay, that's a trade-off. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't know what are you looking for. I don't know what is it that you want. Only you know what you want. This is why I can't recommend TVs to people because of this problem. Because I don't know you and I don't know what you want. I don't know what your preference is, dude. I know what my preference is, but I don't know what your preference is. So let's get back to this game. All right, so what type of settings do I use on Samsung Q8FN? Like, of course, it's going to be a game mode. Obviously, it's going to be a game mode right over here. Also remember, in order for you to turn the game mode, you have to go to a general settings and then go to the external device manager, and from there you turn on the game mode. I usually keep it on automatic. Why do I keep my game mode on automatic? Because when you keep the game mode on automatic, it automatically switches between movie mode, standard mode, sports mode, and then when you turn on the Xbox or PlayStation, it automatically selects the game mode, so you don't have to go back and forth. That's the beauty of this television. It remembers. It remembers exactly what you're watching. So if you're turning on your console, it's going to automatically remember, hey, he's turning on the console, so let's switch it back to the game mode. If you're watching a movie, it's going to automatically switch it to a movie mode. This is something that I don't see anybody talk about when it comes to Samsung televisions. You know, but it's there. It's like the elephant in the room. Yes, it does have a FreeSync because the Xbox One X uses the FreeSync. Okay, and the PlayStation 5 will use the FreeSync because both consoles, PlayStation 5 and Anaconda, they're both designed by AMD GPU and CPU. Okay, so let's get back to the settings. Let's go over here to the picture mode. Remember, we are in the game mode. All right, this should be obvious. When you're running an HDR, you have to have backlit maximum and contrast maximum. Brightness, leave it at middle. 0 means balanced 0. Sharpness, it's at 10. People say, why do you want to keep the sharpness at 10? I don't know, because it's a small TV. This is a 55-inch TV. And I don't like to have my sharpness all the way down. I like to keep it at 10, because this is a 55-inch, and even though it has a great uniformity, but I still like to have my sharpness a bit more vivid. Color, I keep it at 23, the balanced level here. Did you notice both sharpness and color? They're balanced. They're on the balanced levels. I'm not oversaturating anything, and I'm not over sharpening my, pixels. Now, when it comes to local dimming, you have to have this at high. Local dimming should always be set at high. That's the whole idea why you have this TV, is to have the best possible viewing angles and the best possible digital black levels that the LCD can achieve. Contrast enhancer, you know what, you want to take the advantage of this. Why? Because, well, you're watching HDR. You want to crank that, you want to squeeze every ounce of that peak brightness, especially for the HDR. So you want to keep it at high. Color tone, it's always standard. People ask me why standard. Because it's a video game. Now, if you're watching a movie, you can move it to warm 1. If you're watching a sports, you can move it to cool. But I believe for video games, this is the perfect sweet spot. It's leaving it at standard. And that's what I leave it. I leave it at standard. Okay? So leave it at standard. All right, last but not least, what about the gamma? Well, some people would say move the gamma to -1, -2. It's not going to do anything. This is HDR gamma. Listen to me, guys. The gamma is not going to do anything except dim down your HDR. It's not going to do nothing except dim it down. So keep the gamma at 0. If you're looking for a viewing angle television, then Samsung QLED or any LCD out there television, it's not TV for you. If you're looking for viewing angles and you care about the viewing angles and you care about the digital black levels, you want those picture perfect digital black levels, OLED is that TV. But there's a trade-off there. OLED's not the brightest TV. Okay? So you gotta ask yourself, what is it that you are looking for? And this is why I can't recommend anything to you. Because of that. So, like I said, leave the gamma at middle, balanced 0. All right. And color space, this is just me. I like to have it at native. People say to me, why native? Why not automatic? Why native? Why not custom? You know, uh, because that's just me. Okay. But if you want to keep it on automatic, that's your own preference. You can keep it on automatic. Okay. I'm not here to tell you what you should do. My preference is native, but if you want to keep it on automatic, dude, keep it on automatic. That's fine by me. So let's get back to the HDR here. So to me personally, the 1500 peak brightness nits on the slider and the Paperwhite at 200 in my custom preference recipe suggestion, that's what I suggest. Now, just because I suggest it doesn't mean it's some kind of a law that's passed through Supreme Court where you have to go by it. Okay? Just because I say, oh, it's 1500 for peak brightness and 200 for Paperwhite doesn't mean it's some kind of like supreme law that you have to obey and go by. All right? It just means this is what Mr. 4K recipe suggests. You don't have to take this recipe, but it doesn't cost you anything to try it, right? Does it cost you anything to try it? No, it doesn't cost you anything to try it. Give it a try. You know, but I think this is excellent. You know, and people who say that this is, I don't see any difference, dude. Then you don't know what the HDR. Then you don't understand how HDR works, man. Okay, I have in past 6 years, no one has seen more HDR than this ugly mug, this dude right here, this bozo, me. No one has experienced more high dynamic range than this guy that's talking to you through this microphone right now. Can you hear me? Verizon, can you hear me now? Verizon 2, Verizon 3, can you hear me? Verizon 3, can you hear me now? Oh, can you hear me now? Houston, can you hear me now? This guy right here, talking with you through a microphone. Okay? No one has experienced more high dynamic range content than this guy talking to you in past 6 years. I've been living and breathing these televisions. So I don't care what anybody says, they can kiss my ass. I have 4,000 videos to prove that. Okay? So you can take your professional this, professional that, and shove it up your ass. Okay? That's how much that shit means to me. And I'm here to tell you this is way better improvement than what we had previously. Way better improvement. Trust me. 100 times better than what we had before. The only downside is it sucks that it took us such a long time for a rock star to, was it 8 months, 7 months, 8 months, whatever, for them to actually implement this proper HDR. This is as good as Far Cry 5. Seriously. This is as good as Far Cry 5 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. All right? And anybody who says that this is a crappy HDR, then dude, you're just being negative or you're just being a negative troll. That's what you're just trying to be. You're just looking for some negativity to start some stupid thread. That's all you're looking for, some kind of an attention, which I'm not going to give it to you. This is an outstanding improvement from what we had before. And it looks fantastic on Samsung Q8FN, and it also looks fantastic on the OLED. But which TV should you go with? Which TV should you buy? I cannot recommend that to you. Do your own research, make your own decision. Okay? My preference is OLED for movies. I use my OLED for movies, but believe it or not, I play video games on the Qled. Okay? I play video games on OLED, but limit the time. I use my OLED mainly for the movies, man. But that's my preference. That's my preference. Okay? 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 Now I sound like a Joe Pesci. Okay? Okay? Yeah. So there you have it. And I'm gonna have a direct capture HDR of this for you guys tomorrow in the afternoon, and you will be able to see this for yourself on YouTube, on your television, on your Samsung Q8FN. You will be able to see this for yourself. You will be able to experience this for yourself tomorrow. Okay? 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 I'm sounding like Joe Pesci. How am I funny, huh? How am I funny? All right, so there you have it. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Cheers. How am I funny, huh? No, you tell me. How am I funny? All right.